hello. It's just me right now. She went and locked the back door. She was like, I don't know that I locked the back door when I came in.
That was only
and I'm like a stickler for, lock my door. I don't want to get, somebody almost got into my house once.
That was like 2.5, 3 hours ago when I got here, so.
I said, we're going to get got.
Yeah, we're going to get got.
So this week, we are bringing you another installment of our personal experiences.
And we may include a couple that I've heard from friends.
Yeah.
Also, but it's relevant to the time frame.
Yes. So,
we love these episodes. I'm getting all comfy. Oh my god, the computer's doing the thing again.
She's got
a
ghost in her laptop.
Just not to, plug, but there's a new laptop on our Amazon wish list.
Yeah. Hers has a virus.
A girl needs one right now.
So
actually, I'm gonna reboot my computer and see what happens because I don't.
You're not recording. You don't have the. You're not the one with the recording equipment. So how has the past several weeks gone paranormally?
Listen, the past several weeks. See, okay, so here's the thing. Like, this is the time of the year, like, we're in summer, but summer is kind of starting to dwindle down a little bit. Like, we've already had Lunasa,
we're over the hump of summer.
By the time you guys are listening to this, Lunasa Lamas, whatever you want to call it, has passed.
Yes.
So we're kind of at that midway point between summer and everybody's favorite season.
Fall. It's the best.
So, if you're into it like us, the veil starts to kind of drop somewhere around October-ish.
Yeah.
I believe the shit has hit the fan early this year because the past couple of weeks has been absolutely nuts. And for somebody who is very sensitive to those type of things, when I tell you, I just thought of another story that I didn't include on my list that we're going to tell.
Okay.
But it's been kind of crazy the last couple of weeks for sure. Mm-hmm. But like for the past couple of months, things have been kind of
It's been a weird year.
It really has. It really has. I don't know. Are we going into like 5D or whatever it is, and that's what's bringing all the ghosties out to play?
Idea. I think I got a tick on me. That's a mole. I don't know what that was. Maybe it was a lint ball. I don't know.
Anyways,
I'm so scared of getting ticks on me.
But in my house, it's a normal occurrence, so I'm just like, whatever.
I don't want to get, Lyme's disease? I don't want it.
I know people who have gotten it from and they haven't had very many tick bites in their life.
Yeah.
But we've had so many ticks on us, it's crazy.
Well,
I
the guy who does the chicken truck, which is it's so good. If y'all are in this area and you see in the Middle Tennessee area, because he does travel around, and you see a truck called Chicken Stripper, stop, because that's going to be the best chicken you've ever had. But people are like, hey, why don't you have burgers? It's because he got bit by a tick and literally cannot even breathe near hamburger meat.
Oh.
Yeah, it made him severely allergic to red meat. He was like, I can't tell you how much I miss steak.
Oh.
I don't think he can drink milk either.
Oh.
It makes him violently ill.
See, we've been bit by so many ticks in our family.
And ever since he told me that story, my anxiety took it and ran with it. So Danny had to spray the entire yard for ticks.
Oh, bless his heart.
So.
You're a slave driver.
I know. Because I was like, I'm not weed eating unless we get rid of the ticks.
What?
Even though the neighbors' chickens will come over and eat them.
Right.
But I don't know, the ticks were bad this year. But anyway, personal experiences.
So, so it's been a little crazy. Okay, so we're going to back it up a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've discussed before that I kind of live, in the middle of, the woods. I mean, I'm kind of in between two very busy roads. But, when you're at my house, especially in, the warmer months, when the trees are full, you kind of feel like you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Especially at nighttime because the traffic and stuff has kind of slowed down, so you really don't. Late at night, it's deafening. So silent.
Yeah.
It's insane. When I get home tonight and I have to let Loki out before I lay down for bed, it's eerily silent out there, and I just feel watched. I have had this immense feeling of being watched constantly while I'm outside.
Oh, yeah.
Around my house has been nuts. So, like, I have been... It got to a point where I was feeling so watched. In my house, we have one bathroom. My house is pretty small. We have one bathroom. It was like later at night one night. The kids are all in bed. TJ was playing Xbox or something. And like in our room on the opposite end of the house, I'm in the bathroom, and our bathroom is like on an exterior wall. And there's a window to outside in the shower, of all places.
Oh, I love a shower with a window in it.
It's
kind of weird. Yours is on the front of the house. If it was on the back of the house, it wouldn't be so bad, but...
So anyway, I'm in the bathroom, and so, you know, it's warmer. So, like, you flip the light on, bugs are going to gravitate toward that window, and I'll hear them kind of hitting the window from time to time, but there is a huge difference in a bug smacking the window and something hitting the window.
Right.
And just in front of my bathroom window outside is like a flower bed type thing that we have filled with pea gravel because I'm not going to pull weeds. I love plants. Yeah. I love to grow plants.
You know how I got around that? Pollinator garden.
Well, yeah. I love to grow plants. I love the extrinsic, or I love the reward I feel when my plants grow and flourish.
Yeah.
It makes me so happy, but I don't want to pull weeds. So we covered that in pea gravel. So like if something were to step into that, I'm going to be able to hear it from the bathroom.
Right.
And you have to step into that to get to that window. So I'm sitting on the toilet.
Sitting on the toilet?
Dropping a deuce. And I hear crunch in the pea gravel and bang up against the window. And I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and let you know we ain't making it through this episode without dropping the F-bomb. Because here it is.
I think it's warranted.
I'm sitting there. I hear crunch, bang. And I said, the fuck? What was that? And I freeze. So, like, I immediately reach over and close the bathroom or the shower curtain. That's at nighttime. And I'm sure TJ has wondered why all of a sudden the bathroom curtain stays closed at nighttime. Every time I go in there, that curtain stays closed. Like, I immediately just close the shower curtain because I feel like I'm being watched through that window, even though there's blinds on it, you know, but still, no.
Right.
I'm sitting there. I hear that. I'm like, nope. Close the curtain, and then I hear a growl, like a guttural. I don't want to say demonic, but it wasn't like
a dog.
It wasn't. It was spooky. I was like, nope. So I like finished my business real fast, like
cut it off.
Yeah. Get out of the bathroom, go running into the bedroom. He's in the middle of a match, Apex or Fortnite, whatever it is that he was playing that night. And I'm like, so it wasn't him. Loki was right outside the bathroom door because he's up my ass. I can't do anything without him being right there. And so anytime I go to the bathroom, he has to sit outside the door. So he's right there. He's not big enough to produce a growl like that.
Right. Or reach the window.
I don't know that I've ever even heard him do a like legit growl. Yeah. And so I was like, that was a little spooky. I'm not here for that.
Right.
So then a little bit later, I'm like, okay, it's time to go to bed. Let's take Loki out. I'm hesitant because, you know, things gotta...
Right.
I'm like, this is weird, but he's gotta go out. He's not gonna go out unless I go out with him.
Yeah.
So I take him out there, and I open the sliding glass door. And when you open the sliding glass door, to your left is like woods that are like pretty close to my house, and it extends on behind the neighbor's house. And so I'm like panning the area. As I'm panning the area, there's like a very tall like dead tree. And I just kind of like pan through, and as I do, there are glowing eyes.
The eyes
that are like yellow, like it's reflecting light, so it's like yellow white.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're like, it wasn't an owl.
Right.
Because I sat there all night long listening for a hoot owl. Because that's what we would have, is a hoot owl back there. I heard no owl. I see these eyes, but I don't stop because my brain immediately was like, don't even acknowledge the fact that you saw that.
Right.
Because it was like, it was kind of too tall to be an owl. It was like literally like something was perched down, but it was too tall to be an owl. But all I could see were the eyes.
Yeah.
At the top of this tree. And I'm like, nope. I did not even acknowledge that I saw them. I'm like, hurry up and get your shit done, Loki. We got the you know. So I think he kind of sensed that something was up because it was a very speedy bathroom trip.
Yeah.
And then we came back in and went to bed. And like I said, I laid there all night listening for a freaking owl and never heard it. And so it just kind of, it's escalated from then.
Yeah.
I always feel watched. And then like the next, it might have been later that week or maybe the next week. We have wildlife that comes up to the house. I have seen more deer here recently than I ever have, which if you look into like the metaphysical or whatever signs for like seeing a deer, it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there, I like take Loki out and I'm taking him on the front porch this time. So I'm sitting on the front porch and like Loki's walking around in the yard doing his business. He runs off to the neighbor's house like he often does. So I have to like walk over to the side of the house and I'm like screaming, like yelling, Loki, come on, Loki, come here. And I'm loud.
Yeah.
And so I finally get him to come back and I start walking up to the front porch in front of the house again. And as I'm walking on the other side of the house from where Loki was, there's like trees and then a swing set. There was a deer that was just on the other side of the tree, but I couldn't see its face.
Yeah.
All I could see was like the back half of it, and it was a tall deer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is that still? I mean, he's close. Why is he still there after I'm screaming? Like, these deer are very like skittish. They even see me looking at them through the window. They're gone. But he's still standing there. He's really close. I mean, I know he heard me yelling.
Right.
It was a she. And so I'm like noticing that it looks very haggard. And it was, something was just off about it, but then it just ever so slowly just turned, but it never allowed me to see its face.
Oh, that's weird.
It turned and walked away and just sauntered. I'm talking very sassy, like sauntered off to the tree line that's over on the other side. And just stayed right inside that tree line to where I couldn't really get a good visual on it, but I could see that it was there and just sauntering away.
Right.
And I'm like, it's a skinwalker.
Gotta be.
It's a skinwalker. That would be the second deer that I have encountered over the past couple of months that looked that like almost to the point of like, you see those deer that are like mad cow disease or whatever it is that they get?
Yeah.
Where they're real like messed up, mangy looking. I had one run out in front of me in a spot that I never see deer.
Damn.
And it, you know, this is the second one like that. And I'm like, it's skinwalker. There's just no other way to describe it.
Right.
It has to be. And then, of course, my white girl brain was like, what if I made friends with it? What if I did? But it's been very...
Yeah, I feel like the eyes kind of started it all.
Yeah.
Because, like, I saw the eyes. So, not far from where I live, there's this road, and I'm not going to tell you the actual name of it, but we around here just call it the Holler. And...
Wait. There's more than one. So, which one are you referring to?
The Holler. I've only got one. Yeah.
Okay.
Just, like, not far from here.
Okay, I got you.
So, and it's, like, on an incline.
I thought... Okay, never mind.
So, I'm going down it, because I'm going to...
Into town,
yeah. For whatever reason, I don't even remember. But, and I look, and, like, as I'm going down, so, on one side, it's, like, you would basically just run into a wall of rock. It's a cliff. And the other side is just a straight drop down into a gully. And it's like a 1-lane road. It's sketchy.
It is super sketch, and I hate going.
And me, I'm just like, I'll go down that hill as fast as possible so I don't have to pass anybody.
Which is amazing because there's a backstory.
But I'm going down, and like, I see a pair of glowing eyes with nothing attached to them on this hillside where I don't even know that a deer could stand there. Because it's like it's like the part where it's like a straight drop. Mm-mm. And I was like, no thank you. Mm-mm. But, interestingly enough, I don't know if I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but Danny's nephew saw the eyes first. He's going down...
Before I did?
Before you did.
Oh.
He saw them like, I want to say wintertime-ish. So, he's going down their road, and I think he was going home from Clarksville or whatever. So, he's going up their road, and he comes around a curve, and he was like, there was a set of eyes there. He was like, he's like, I didn't see a deer or nothing. And he was like, it was weird. The whole thing was weird. And after that, he started having, like, a string of bad luck.
Oh.
And it was like, and some like weird things were happening. He was like, it's because of the eyes. And then I saw the eyes. And then you saw the eyes.
But I don't know that I can attribute anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know that I had any like particularly like bad luck.
I mean, I haven't had the greatest of times lately, but it wasn't like directly after I saw those that things started to...
But yeah, he had just like some weird shit going on. But yeah, so that's the eyes.
The eyes are not cool.
No. But like
the eyes are the windows to your soul.
Yeah.
I think we did tell that story last time.
But like my woods over here. So I don't have woods myself. But I have woods nearby. I'm, like, surrounded by woods. And, like, across the street, they've cleared off part of that field. And the rest of that is woods. And you couldn't pay me to go in them woods.
I think we did mention them the last time.
Yeah, because,
There's noises.
I've heard singing in those woods. Just, like humming. And I'm of the thought, you didn't hear that. Go in the house. If I'm like sitting on the porch at 11 o'clock at night, it's quiet, and then I hear like a I'm going in the house. I didn't hear nothing. And it's like in the Appalachia, if you hear somebody screaming, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
No.
TJ and a couple of, I think it's TJ and his brother, and one of their cousins is going to Arizona in November to go camping with one of the cousins that lives out there for his birthday. And because they, as kids, they went camping all the time.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like their favorite pastime or whatever to do together. And they haven't done it in years. And so they decided that they were going to go camping. Well, his cousin was like, okay, he's trying to get everything ready for them to come out and whatever, and they're planning and whatnot. And he says, okay, do y'all want woods or do you want desert? And like TJ's like, bro, we have woods here. Like, why would I want to stay in the woods? And I'm like, I'm just going to let you know. You hear singing, screaming, cries for help, a baby. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. I said, if you hear whistling, no, you didn't. And he said, I'm gonna whistle back. And I said, don't do it. Because you ain't coming home.
Right.
Which, as I've stated before, he's a non-believer. But that's fine. It's interesting living in a house with a non-believer when you're as believing as I am.
It really is.
See, but you've kind of turned him. Like
well, I didn't. His brother did.
Oh, yeah.
So, Danny, I'm sure he won't mind me telling this. So
if he does, oh well.
If he does, I'll apologize on the next episode. But his brother passed away suddenly and very unexpectedly 2 years ago. and he had some debts, and we were trying to help pay these debts. And so Danny had gotten his tools and stuff, and he worked on like big trucks, like semis and fire trucks and all that. So he had like tools specifically for that. And Danny was like, I can't do anything with these, but I know guys who will. So one of his friends is over. And I've talked about this guy's house before. He's the one where I'm sitting in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hear my name, and I was like, they're selling that house, by the way.
Good.
Not because of that, but...
Wow.
But yeah, so we're at the house, going through his tools, and like, I had already had a sneaking suspicion that something hinky was going on. But because like my phone was on a flat surface, and it was like somebody went and knocked it off, and it flew in the floor. Like I watched it,
like an asshole cat would just knock
like
it off,
like an asshole cat would do, and like I watched it do it, and then I picked it up, sat it down, and then a little while later it did the same thing, and I was like, I'm not a fan of this. So his friend is looking through the toolbox, and like we start to smell something, and we're like, what is that? And we look up at about the time that the light catches on fire.
Oh.
And like me and Danny are both like, oh no, what do we do? And his friend is like, you idiots, turn the light off. Well, the light turned itself off, but it's like smoking and popping, and it's the light that's directly over the toolbox, so we can't see what's in the toolbox now. Oh. And then, so got that, turned the light off, took it down. It was a mess. So now we're one light in this garage to be able to see. Well, the next time he's telling somebody, I've got all these tools to sell, and the other light does the same thing.
Oh, wow. And
I'm like, how can you not think?
Right.
I was like, because I didn't know if it was going to be like a touchy subject, but I'm like, your brother's here, and your brother's pissed. And he's like, he did it to himself. It's like, I'm only having to sell this because of him. And I was like, chances, because it was like, he hadn't been gone long.
Right.
Like, it was like less than a month. And I was like, chances are he probably doesn't even realize that he's dead yet.
Right.
But there's been like other things that have happened. I know his other brother has had some experiences too, because like his oldest son he never got to meet their dad, and he said he really hasn't told him about him or anything, but they had a balloon in the house, and it was like floating around at like, and it wasn't losing its helium. It was kind of weird. It was just kind of floating around the house. And I probably should get clarity on these stories before I tell them, but, cause I know he listens too, but he said something, and his son goes, oh, that's my friend. And he was like, oh, really? What's your friend's name? And he goes, Ricky.
Oh,
his dad's name. And he was like, I don't know that I've ever even told him my dad's name. And he said after that the balloon went in the basement. Yeah. They were like freaked out by it. But like
I've got a balloon story recently.
They also have had like pictures just spontaneously break on the wall. Like fall off and shatter. And this was like since their brother passed. So I think it's just been one picture, but I think he was talking about him or something.
Yeah, that's weird.
But I was like, y'all need to apologize to him I don't know what for, but you need to apologize to him.
Right. Well, so we had a balloon at our house. Where did the balloon even come from? I don't even remember. We had a balloon. Oh, I think the kids brought home balloons from daycare for like 4th of July or something. But there was a blue balloon, and it was in Easton's bedroom. And so I'm sitting on the couch, and TJ and the kids were in our room because they were like, the kids were taking turns playing Fortnite on the Switch while TJ was playing with them on the Xbox. And so they're all in there, and I'm in the living room by myself, me and Loki. And Loki's just running around on the floor playing with his toys.
Was recent.
Yeah. I think I sent you the video.
Oh,
and so there was this balloon that was in like Easton's room, but it was like right in front of the doorway. Well, all of a sudden it just starts moving. Now, I'm not going to say for 100 that it was like ghostly activity. I rebooted my computer and it's still doing that. I'm not going to for sure say like 100% it was ghostly activity, because it very well could have just been like the air was on.
Yeah.
But like the balloon starts moving on the floor.
Right.
Because it was somebody just blew it up with helium.
Oh, okay.
But it just starts moving on its own, like there's nobody in there. And Loki sees it and he starts flipping out.
Yeah.
Barking, growling. He doesn't know what to do. He's
Right.
freaking out. And then it would stop moving. And then he'd be like, what?
Yeah.
And then he'd just go on about playing. And then a few minutes later, it would start moving again. And he's like, nope. And like, he would not come within, I would say, 10 feet of that doorway. Like,
Yeah.
he saw the balloon move and he'd like instantly go, you'd see him kind of like walk toward it and then back up. And then he's growling, but he's not doing like a real growl. It's
Yeah.
like a shit, I don't know what to do.
Right.
And it was funny, but it was kind of freaky all at the same time. That dog, I'm telling you, I have never, in the 12 years that TJ and I have been together, which, by the way, as of today, you guys won't be hearing this until like several weeks later, but my anniversary,
on the day we're recording.
yeah, on the day that we're recording, my anniversary, our wedding anniversary was yesterday.
Yeah.
7 whole years of marriage, 12 years together. But in the 12 years that he and I have been together, when we got together, he had a Rottweiler and a miniature dachshund. That was Baloo and Cujo.
Yeah.
Baloo was the Rottweiler.
Yeah.
Cujo was the
Right.
the wiener dog. Very aptly named.
Right. He was so sweet.
He
though.
was sweet, but he could tear some shit up.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't give him tennis balls because they were ripped up in a matter of a couple hours. He was named initially, I think, when they got him, because he got this dog with like his ex prior to me, and I think his name was like Titan or something like that, or Hercules or something. And like they had left him at home and had gone to work, and when they got back, he had like chewed the legs off of a table.
Oh my God.
So he was like, no, your name is Cujo.
Right.
That was always a great laughing point for anybody that we told that the dog's name was Blue, or the Rottweiler's name was Blue and the little one was Cujo.
Yeah.
But we've had Blue, we've had Cujo, and then he and I got what was supposed to have been a full-blooded black lab, but it was no more black lab than I am, because he remained small in his short life. He got loose and was hit by a car.
Yeah, he like ran to the highway.
Yeah. His name was Sabin, and then we moved in together and we got Juno, which was our golden retriever that we just recently lost. And then now we have Loki. So we've had all these dogs. Not one of these, however, Cujo was he was very attached to TJ. He tolerated me. Juno was attached to all of us. But being that I worked from home for the last little bit of her life, she was, she wasn't super protective. But she stayed close.
Right.
Loki is very protective. I say that He stays up my ass. He has, as TJ puts it, has imprinted on me because he is with me.
It's like a little duck.
Oh my gosh. He is with me pretty much 24/7. If he's going to listen, it's going to be to me. That's my dog. Not one of these freaking dogs pays attention to anything supernatural that goes on around them.
Right.
They don't notice things unless it's like, boom, right there. Are you moving this road?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm playing with it with my toes.
But it's like, it's insane because animals are supposed to sense that kind of stuff.
Right. I think my cats definitely.
Oh, your cats do.
Yeah.
My dogs never have. If I have a familiar, it would be Loki. And he's not a very good one.
Right.
But I don't know. Anyway, he just doesn't, because we working at home. Just last week before.
Mm-hmm.
Working at home. And stuff's just moving.
Yeah.
We have those cheap wooden baby gates that we keep up in front of the kid's bedroom door so that Loki doesn't go in there and use the bathroom if he's going to in the house, which is rare.
Yeah.
Or go in there and get into their toys and tear stuff up or eat something he's not supposed to.
Right.
Well, a lot of times the kids will just knock those gates over on their way out the door and just not pick them up.
Yeah.
But I'm working.
I think my Coke can popped.
Oh.
This is my drink in there.
Oh.
That's what it sounded like.
I'm working the other day and you just hear it sounds like the baby gates in there rattling and Loki's right here beneath my feet. It's just me and him there.
Just
like somebody just moved it or stepped on it.
Yeah.
Or, tipped it on their way over it.
And he's like, I didn't hear nothing.
He didn't hear shit. And then you can hear stuff moving around in the living room. Somebody walking through the house. It's just, I hear that stuff all the time and he never reacts to any of it. Except for that very same night, because I had texted my sister and was like, it's hella active here today.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, you need to do this, this, and this. Mm. And I'm like, I didn't do any of that. I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. And I was a little...
live with the ghosts.
Right. I was a little on edge about it, but it wasn't anything major. And so I had sat down to write one of the episodes for this recording sesh. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the next one we're going to record. And so I was sitting there and I just felt like somebody was in the kitchen watching me. And I just felt very watched from inside the house, not outside. Yeah. Well, both really. And it just was, I kept hearing things behind me and I'm like, So I quit about a portion of the way into this episode that I was writing and laid down in bed. So the kids are all in bed. TJ was not home yet. Mm-hmm. It's 10:30. Mm-hmm. Me and Loki are in bed. I'm scrolling through the TikTok. Just chilling. Mm-hmm. Curled up in my bed, comfy. All of a sudden, I hear boom, boom from the kitchen. And I'm like, the fuck was that? So then I get up. I get up. And I'm like, maybe there's a kid in the kitchen. They went to get something out of the fridge and something fell out. Because that's kind of what it sounded like.
Yeah.
I walk around the corner. Ain't nobody in that kitchen. But I've got shelves around my kitchen sink. Mm-hmm. And on the top shelf, there's 2 bags of dog treats. And some spray for when in between baths for dogs.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's spray for itchy skin on dogs. Mm-hmm. None of these things have been touched in months. There's zero reason for them to be unsteady on their area where air or something would knock it off. There's zero reason they should shift
on their own.
Right.
Yeah.
This bottle.
Those are fixed shelves.
Yeah. They're built into the cabinets. Yeah. The spray for the itchy stuff had fallen off of this shelf and was rolling across my kitchen floor. Oh. Loki did respond to that because it was loud as hell and it scared him. But we both got up to look and I picked it up and I put it on the counter instead of back on the shelf.
Yeah.
And then I went and laid back down to bed and I was like, look, whoever the fuck is here, if you're not of love and light, you got to go, because
Right.
we don't play that here. If you're not here and to be nice, then you got to go.
Right.
You leave us alone. And it's been nuts. The very next night, Loki curled up in bed behind me, and the weight of him didn't feel right. It didn't, like, his whole energy. You know how, like, somebody can walk up behind you and touch you, and you can tell by the energy they're giving off who it is? It was not my dog. And I was like, you got to get, like, whatever you are, get out of my dog and get gone. And then, like, it was fine.
Yeah.
It's been nuts.
I don't know. Well, I know you texted me and you were like, have you had weird shit going on? And I was like, no. It's actually been pretty quiet over here. Like, I was on the verge of a mental breakdown, but other than that, everything was fine. The next morning, I'm laying in bed, snoozing, minding my own business. Danny wasn't here. He had just left to, like, start dog sitting. And it's like almost 8:30 in the morning, and I am awoken to, and I'm like, not gonna answer the door, because I don't do that, even, like, in regular daylight hours. I don't like that. Don't knock on my door. It freaks me out. And so I immediately, like, no glasses on, can't see shit, go and look at my cameras. Because it sounded like my bedroom is, like, right next to my front door. And so if somebody knocks on the front door, I'm going to hear it in the bedroom.
Right.
And it's going to be loud as shit. So I immediately get on my phone, look at the cameras. That's what I do now when anybody knocks on the doors. I just double check to make sure I know who they are. Because if not, I ain't going to the door. Look, nobody. Look at the side door just to make sure that it wasn't nobody knocking on that door. Nothing. Nobody. Not a car in the driveway. No evidence of a human being being anywhere near my house at that time. And I checked within, like, I would say under a minute from that knock. So I got up and got my ass ready for work and wrote it off. I didn't write it off, but tried not to think about it too much. Because it was like a very distinct knock. Like, sounded like a cop knocking on the door. So I was like it woke the cats up. Like, Willow was laying in the cat tree. She wasn't sleeping with me that night. She decided she was too good for her mom. And was sleeping on the top of the cat tree. And, like, she jumped up. And, of course, Amara's going to go hide because she thinks a stranger's coming in. So.
Right.
And then, like, I'll be laying in bed and I'll just hear, like, banging around in the rest of the house. And all the cats are in the bedroom with me. And like, I know the difference between, like, Willow banging around the house, because I don't know what it is, but that cat, like, will fling herself into a wall. You should see her on the cat tree. She does not know how to get off of it. So she just, like, flips herself over.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you ever see times where, like, she's walking and it's just like she just throws herself into a wall, or it looks like something could have pushed her?
Oh, it's literally like a parkour situation.
Because there's been times, like, and I think it even happened last night. Maddie noticed it. Loki will walk through the house and it's like he either, like, stumbles for some weird reason or something pushes him.
Yeah.
And so, like, he did it last night and Maddie was like, oh, and she's got a name for this female child that she has seen.
Mm-hmm.
So she says. And she's like, oh, and I forget what the name is, but did so-and-so do that to you? And I'm like, don't invoke that shit.
Right.
Don't talk about it. Don't give it names.
Right.
That same day that I texted you about all that, though.
Yeah.
I texted my friend Josh and was like, hey, so here's what just happened. Have you had anything weird going on? Because he lives like a mile from me. And he sees a lot of stuff out where he's at. He lives in the same neighborhood as my sister, and so, like,
that neighborhood's a
little sketch town sometimes. But he was like, and I just had the text up and then my phone refreshed and then it went away. Okay, so here it is. So he's like, well, funny thing, this morning laying in bed, the dresser that my TV sits on sounds like something was trying to crawl out of it.
Oh.
He said it sounded heavy enough that my foot hanging off the bed, and Josh isn't very bothered by things very often. Like, he senses it, and he's like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, it doesn't bother him.
Right.
He said, it sounded heavy enough that my foot hanging off the bed out of the covers made me feel uncomfortable. So I pulled it back under the cover. Actually, it weirded me out.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is weird.
So for him to be bothered by
Right.
it must have been...
I don't have, like, experiences in my actual bedroom.
Your bedroom is like the safe space.
Yes. And I think this room is, like, also feeling more like a safe space now.
Better. Because
Yeah,
this
it's
room used to creep me the hell out.
I think getting rid of, like, some of the creepy dolls has helped.
Thank
I still got Howdy Doody up there, but...
Well, and then that one
I was painting the ceiling and I accidentally made eye contact with him and, like, I couldn't finish it.
I didn't even notice that you had painted.
Yeah. It looks like absolute dog shit, but...
I've looked at the ceiling 27 times since we've been in here tonight, and I didn't even notice.
It looks awful.
I can see it now, though.
Yeah. It does not look good.
That was not me commenting on your ability to paint, by the way. That was just me saying that I'm not
a ceiling painter.
I'm not very observant of the surroundings.
Well, who looks up?
I have several
Wait
times
until
tonight.
I put them on little mushrooms and stuff.
I can't wait.
It's called Glowing Garden. It's got some mushrooms and some monarch butterflies, bluebells, daisies. Something just flew by that window.
Yes.
Rose.
I just fixed my drink up,
that might be what I saw. I just saw it out of the corner of my eye. But yeah, some peacock butterflies. I'm gonna light this bitch up. I got these at Five Below. I'm so excited. They're equivalent to, like, the little galaxy stars and stuff we used to have on our ceilings as kids.
Back in the 90s.
Yeah. So, but now I'm gonna have mushrooms.
Oh, I'm excited.
A mushroom girly. I'm trying to think of anything else weird has been happening around here. Not really. Just, like, some banging around. No worse than usual. I think, like, reaching into the depths of my past, of, like, things I've experienced. Oh, I know one we could tell. So, we went ghost hunting with Maddie not too long ago. And we drove past that cemetery. I don't know if we've ever named it on here, but it's the one with the statues. And we drove by and we saw, like, because there's, like, is it an angel or is it, like, a Virgin Mary?
Mary, Mother Teresa, something.
It looks like Mother Teresa. Ugh. It's weird. So, like, we went by it once and this statue is, like, facing one direction. And then we come back by and, like, and it took a second, but all of us went, wait a minute. That's facing a different direction now.
Yeah, because we had one of her friends with her.
Yeah, and she was, like, very skeptical of the whole thing. And even she was like, what? Yeah. Wait, like, did I just see that?
I'm getting chills.
And, like, it literally, that thing did, like, a full, like, what do you call that? Like a 90-degree turn?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't, like, face the opposite direction or anything.
No, it just turned to get a better view of us.
Yes. Like, it was pointed, like, towards the road, but, like, a different part of the road.
This is like a stone statue, guys.
Yes.
A stone statue. And
like, there's no way that could have moved.
I've literally watched this thing. Like, you know how, like, you've got dolls and stuff that you feel like their eyes follow you?
Yeah.
That's not the case with this one. Like, its head turns. There has been multiple... Every time we pass that place, this thing watches... The head watches us.
Yeah,
until we get to a point to where it would have to turn all the way backwards. Like,
yeah.
Whoa.
But, like, that whole statue was turned.
Yes.
And, like, because I was like... At first, I was like, was that... Is that what we saw? And then, like, your daughter and her friend said something, and they were both like, wait a minute, that statue. And I was like, okay, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
And then did we drive past it again?
Yeah, we drove past it like 3 or 4 times. Like,
yeah, and it didn't move again. But, like, I was like, it was definitely turned a different direction.
Y'all were also making fun of me because I was like, this is a weird confession. When we experience weird paranormal activity things, I get a weird pain in my...
Oh, your cooter?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
In my cooter. In my vag. It makes my vag hurt. I don't know what it is.
Lightning crotch.
It's not even like that. It's just a weird, like, in my ovaries, cervix, like, the whole area in that general vicinity just fucking hurts. It's weird. And it is the weirdest thing, but it's like, as soon as we turn down that road, it's like immediately starts like hurting. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. We are about to experience something.
We did.
We did for sure. Speaking of here recently, so we've talked about the stuff that we've experienced here locally.
Yeah.
I've got a friend that lives in Florida. And I was talking to her on the phone the other day. And she was saying, I was telling her about all the stuff that had been going on. And because I had said something about, stuff's been kind of active here lately. And she's like, what do you mean? So I was telling her. And she goes, it's really weird that you mentioned that. And I'm like... Why? Because she and I haven't really ever had, like, we've had a couple conversations. She knows that, where my standpoint is on all this. But we haven't really, like, gone into deep. And I don't know that she's ever shared experiences with me before. But she was like, I was sitting here working the other day. Because she also works from home. And she was like, I was sitting here working the other day. And she was like, it was like, I could feel somebody standing behind me, like standing over me. And she was like, and then all of a sudden I started getting whiffs of perfume that I don't own. And I'm like, you were visited. Right. And she was like, that never happens, but that just recently happened. She was like, it's like the other day. And I'm like, I don't know what it is right now. I don't even, another one of my friends that I have reached out to you about, lately, she's having issues with a run of bad luck. She said that she was like, she had gone outside, and when she came back into the house, all of their stash of Walmart bags and stuff, like plastic bags, were just strewn all over the house. Strewn, all over the kitchen. Yeah. Just for no reason, they just fell out.
Wow. That's...
Yeah.
I don't particularly care for that.
Do you want to talk about my family cemetery?
We can.
So, I don't remember, and I should have gone back and listened to our first episode of Paranormal Experiences, but I did not. I don't remember if we mentioned my family cemetery, and if we did, I don't know how much in detail we got.
I don't know that you went into big detail, if you went into it at all.
So, and this is going to be weird. This is a weird way to put it. My mom's family cemetery is kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
It really is.
It's in an absolutely beautiful area.
Oh yeah.
I for the longest time was convinced, like, my family owned that land, all of that land back there at one point in time, and there's like an old mill out there that my family owned and ran. And like growing up, we'd go out to that cemetery, for funerals and things like that. And so it always just kind of felt different to me out there. And I was convinced that like that mill is now like a wedding venue and stuff. And I was like, I'm getting married at that place at one point in time. When I get married, this is where we're doing it.
Yeah.
Did not. But, and it's weird because like, in my mom's family, you're a freaking printer. In my mom's family, like, the genes are strong, but, like, there's a man that I'm telling you, I don't know if he's actually related to us or not, but the man looks like, just dead up like my grandfather, my mom's dad. I'm scrolling through this website for this wedding venue, and I see this man who's in a picture with the bride that looks straight up like my granddaddy. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. And Mom was like, no. That's so-and-so. Does he not look just like him? And I'm like, abso-freaking-lutely. Like, it was crazy. But anyway, so this land, it's this area. It's just always kind of, if an area can feel like home, my family cemetery area feels like home to me.
Yeah.
Is your printer doing weird things?
I think it says it's cleaning. I'm blind. I can't see what that says.
So the weird noises in the background are her printer doing weird things?
Yeah, my printer decided it was going to clean. I don't know. At 11:38 at night.
Okay.
It usually only does this whenever I change the ink.
Hey, house visitors, house ghosts,
knock it off.
Stop. Anyways, so this area feels like home.
Yeah.
And I've taken you out there several times.
Oh yeah, I've been out there several times. My favorite time was when we went and Maddie was like, how old? She was like
2, 3.
Yeah. And she's like going from headstone to headstone, going awkward. We're like, where did you learn
right.
this?
But there's been several times that I go out to that cemetery just to, visit or whatever. And it, like, I can feel, it's like everybody's hanging out, sitting on their headstones, and you just feel like the family.
Yeah.
And you feel welcome, and you feel safe. And then there was that one time that I was there, and it was like a freaking reunion. It was like everybody was just like, oh, hey. And, I felt so safe and so cared for. And then it was like, I'm walking, and I want to say TJ and Gemma were with me. Maddie must have been at her dad's or something. We were out riding around or something that day. And I decided, hey, let's go out there. And so we were walking around the cemetery. And, like, all of a sudden, it felt like somebody just rushed up on me from behind. And it caught me off guard. And then, like, I fully intended to turn around and see somebody. Because I even heard, like, the crunching of the leaves behind me.
Yeah.
And there was nobody there. Which, I didn't feel threatened. I think I kind of attributed that to being my uncle, who I never got to meet, but am named after. Mm-hmm. Because he was a big jokester type person. Him and my dad were apparently, buddies, and they had a good time together while he was alive. And so I didn't think anything about it, but it was like the more I have gone out there, and I think I can kind of attribute it to the fact that 99.9% of the time when I go out there, I'd take you or our friend that we had at the time. Mm-hmm. Or both of you, whatever. And you guys are not family.
Right.
And so it started feeling like I was not welcome. And then there was a time that we had talked about going out there at night.
Yeah. And
a friend of mine reached out. And we were talking, and I was telling her that, we were thinking about it. And she was like, I don't have a good feeling about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean? And she was like, I don't have a good feeling about it. She was like, something keeps telling me something about Maddie. I keep seeing a blonde-headed little girl, and she reminds me of Maddie. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, ooh, I don't like that. And so we had decided at that point to not go. And then, like, I had reached out, I was talking to my mom about it, and I think I had talked to, like, one of my cousins about it. And my cousin had said something about she had experienced some things. Mm-hmm. And then I found out that there is a little girl. And since I figured it out, I have felt her there. And I think that I have taken you since then. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of children that are buried in that cemetery, and there's like the cemetery is now right next to a church, and there's a playground,
a creepy playground.
Yes, and it's old. It's like an older playground. You almost fear for like tetanus or something.
Yeah.
But like the swings move, broad daylight, middle of the day. There's like no wind.
Yeah.
The swings move. But it's like right back in that little corner. of the cemetery before you get to the playground, just you can feel like an energy. And that tree line that's right there behind on the back side, opposite from the church, there's like a weird energy. And like, it's that little girl. And I don't know. It's almost like she puts herself, like it's a front that she is the protector of the children. But the way she comes at me, the way I feels like it's not good there for anyone.
Right.
That is buried there.
Yeah.
She is not nice.
Yeah.
Bad enough so that the last funeral that I went to out there, she was there. My mom and my sister and I were all standing there. And my sister and I had ridden together. It might not have been the last funeral. It might have been the funeral before that. My sister and I had ridden together for this funeral. And, like, the funeral is going on. And, of course, we were kind of up front at first. And then I felt the presence behind me. And I was like, mm-mm. So I kind of backed up. And I noticed as I started backing up, my sister was backing up too. And we kind of stood behind everybody. And it was like almost instinctively trying to, like, shield, keeping that energy away. And then I noticed that Mom trailed back to us as well.
Yeah.
And we all three were kind of talking about it, and we all three kind of sensed it, that she was in that tree line behind us and was projecting that she didn't want us there. And I'm like, it's literally no one but family and closest friends here. Like, we're allowed to be here.
Right. And I even, like, as an outsider who's been there, like, I don't feel welcomed there at all.
Has there been any point that, because you've been going for years with me, has there been any point where you felt okay there?
I mean, at first, yes, it felt like a very comfortable space. But, like, as the years have gone on, it's like, I don't know, I just feel less and less welcomed.
It's almost like she was okay with me bringing you guys once or twice. But because I've brought you so many times, you guys are outsiders.
Right.
Like I had said for my whole life, that's where I will be buried when I die. That's where my parents have plots picked out there.
Yeah.
I mean, and they go up there quite often, pour one out for my uncle. Like, like literally every time I think they go out there, Dad pours a beer or something out on top of his grave.
Right.
But like, I will not. Like, I'm of the mindset at this point, I don't want to be buried, I want to be cremated.
Yeah.
But like,
you can still be buried and cremated, but
I don't want to be there. And like the cemetery where my other set of grandparents that I was closer to, I had more time with them though. That's not like a family cemetery. There's, a multitude of families there.
See, that's like my family cemetery is like, because my roots run very deep where we live. I've got family kind of buried all over the county.
Right.
And, but like in the middle of town is a cemetery that like, I feel quite
comfortable. Do your hands like this again. Okay.
I feel quite comfortable in. And particularly in my family plot. Like there is a family plot that like has my great-great-grandparents in it.
Right.
And like his first wife and one of their sons and their children that didn't make it past, like infancy.
Right.
Are buried there in that plot. And I feel super comfortable there. But, and then there, my great grandparents are also buried there, but they're like, across the cemetery in the newer section. But like my great grandparents are in the old part of that cemetery where I've like heard singing. And,
that one.
That cemetery where like, I've spent a lot of time in that cemetery.
That cemetery, she feels so at home there. She's so comfortable there. But I'm telling you,
on the old side.
The old side is where I feel the worst at.
Yeah.
I do not like it. Like, still to this day, Sunday nights are mine and TJ's nights to watch whatever show we're watching at that point. We'll put the kids to bed, and then I'll make a Sonic trip and get, drinks or whatever. And then I'll come home and we'll curl up in bed and watch whatever show that we're watching at the time. 1, 2, 3 episodes, however late we feel like staying up. On Sunday nights. So every once in a blue moon, I'll get a wild hair up my ass, and on the way back, instead of turning right out of Sonic, I will turn left and then hang another left up there and cruise past that cemetery on my way home, which I realize is kind of like way out the way.
Yeah.
But there's a way to get home that way, just because I feel like
there's always a way to get home.
Yeah. And like, those nights I'm like, I feel like giving myself a little anxiety attack. Let's see what we can do. And
Let's
so
see if
I'll
I can
drive
scare
past.
myself a little.
Right. I'll drive past, and like some nights there's nothing, no big deal. There are some nights when I'm like in tears by the time I can get past this cemetery. And it's not a very big cemetery.
It's not a very big cemetery, but there are a lot of people buried there.
I can't breathe when we go there. Like, I had gone there before with someone that I was friends with for a little bit, who is very sensitive to stuff. And we went there, and like, she had a spirit box thing where they could generate speech, and like, we kind of walked around a little bit, and that was not the first time she had been there, but we kind of walked around a little bit, and then all of a sudden she was like, okay, I'm done, I've got to go. And then like, we started walking back toward the car, and like, I felt like I had been stabbed in the back. It was insane. And then the spirit box said something along the lines of pain or stab or back or something. And I was like, oh, no. And
Were you with us that time because we used one of those apps?
Yeah, no, well, we have.
But like, were you with us the time that Allie fell off the brick wall?
No, I think you told that the last episode, though. No, I wish.
That was so funny.
I wish.
It was so scary at the moment because it said run, and we were like, we got to go.
Deuces!
And Allie, bless her heart, she's running on that little brick wall and goes to jump off of it, falls. We leave her.
She gonna get got. Oh, man. We've had some times, though.
Yeah.
We've seen some crazy shit. You remember that one that's like out in the middle of nowhere, but that house is right across the street?
Yes.
And we never like stop and pull in, but then we took pictures.
Yes.
And there was like that glowing light.
Well, when we took those pictures, that house wasn't there yet.
No.
That house is like newer, and I don't know who would look at that cemetery and be like, you know where I want to build a house?
Right across the street.
Right across from that. No. Not that cemetery.
But we got some crazy. There was like an old man. There was like what looked to be like the burning end of a cigarette. We had some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
That one is truly like it. I have only gotten out and walked around that thing once in daylight hours.
I've walked around it a couple of times in daylight hours. But at night, I think maybe one time.
We've gotten out of the car a couple times and we didn't make it very far in.
No.
No, thank you. No.
That whole area, though, is kind of skeevy.
Remember that time we were trying to find it and we got lost and we wound up on somebody's farm and the old man was like, where are y'all trying to go? I was like, we gonna die today.
I think that was when you had your Jeep. The
and it was
black
overheating.
Jeep. Yeah. Oh, Lord. The good old days.
Lord. And then there's that big ass donkey statue.
Oh, yeah.
And we went down there when we took Maddie and her friend and didn't tell them about it. And we were like, just wait. And they were like, what is that?
Right.
'Cause it does. It does scare. I know
if you don't know it's there,
well,
even if you do know it's there, it gets me every time.
And I
so
just
I'm like, whoa.
It's like this huge, like I'm talking huge donkey, like metal donkey statue.
Yeah.
And like I'm telling you, there's one time we're gonna be driving back, and this thing we're gonna get there, and then as the headlights hit it, red eyes are gonna start glowing. I just know it's gonna happen. Kind of like those
creepy
horses up in Scottsboro.
Oh yeah, them horses were.
That one
Freaky.
time it was rubbing its neck up against like that electricity pole or whatever, and we couldn't see the pole. We just thought it was moving real weird. Man, did we talk about the house up there?
Scottsboro?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that we have.
Let's talk about it.
So in Scottsboro, which is like an unincorporated little area nearby us, it's closer to Nashville. But
it's technically addressed as Nashville.
Yeah, it is Nashville, but like it's over on this side.
Yeah.
But like there's like an old schoolhouse, which was a restaurant. It's not a restaurant anymore. It's like a wedding venue. Like I don't know that I'd want to get married there.
No.
But the restaurant, that was a nice restaurant.
We've seen
but
red glowing eyes in the windows for the basement.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've heard that there's like a portal to hell down there.
That there's like a portal. Somebody who we used to hang out with, who is apparently now a non-believer, if the rumors are true.
They've been called out now.
I don't know if he listens, but I'm on to you.
My nose is itching like crazy, like right there.
But yeah, so he claimed to have gone into that building and like when it was still abandoned, and saw some shady shit.
Mm-mm.
And it scared the hell out of him, so like he wasn't gonna go eat in that restaurant.
And then further on up the road, so like there's a little,
our first wedding was in that area,
that little community center type thing. So here's a story for you, and I'm sure I've told you that my parents lived up there at one point in time. And like their house, the house that they lived in, was like, my parents have a type because even to this day still kind of looks like the house they live in currently from the outside.
It really does.
But the house that they were living in, they said that like they had a little rocking chair. It would just rock by itself. They had like these shelves that were like made out of rope. If I'm remembering this correctly, they were like made out of rope, and like the more weight you put on them, the stronger that they were. And like one morning my dad like got out of bed, and the second that his feet hit the floor, those shelves just fell.
Yeah.
And then like he'd be working on a car or something, and his tools would come up missing. Like they'd be back in the toolbox, even though he literally just laid them down next to him. So they figured out. So the person that lived in the house prior to them, or at some point before them, they had a little girl, and there was like some kind of play or something. I may have said this in the last episode, I don't know, but like there was some sort of play or something that they were going to do down at the community center. So the little girl was going to be in the play, and so she had taken the little girl to play practice, and she was going to go back home and then go back and get her. Well, she apparently wrecked and died on the way home, and I'm talking like a mile. Apparently wrecked and died.
Oh, wow.
And so Mom was a firm believer that she was like still present in that house and had a crush on Dad.
Because that would have been like, that was before you were born?
Yeah. I don't even know. Maybe my sister was like little. I don't even know if my sister was even born at that point. But yeah, no, they had the 2 St. Bernards there too, I believe. Oh, okay. And the St. Bernards kept getting loose and like getting in the neighbors' trash and stuff from what I remember. I think about that every time we go up there. But like further down the road, that house that I was talking about, we like to have never found that cemetery. There's so you go up the road and then there's a driveway. Like you have to know where you're going to find it.
You have to know that this cemetery is there,
right? In
order to find where this cemetery is.
I forget how you figured out that it was there.
I think it was whenever I was like into the genealogy stuff, and like I found out that there was a cemetery down that way, and that I might have some family members buried there on my mom's side, which I mean I think was true, but I don't know. But that's how I found it.
And like you almost have to have a 4-wheel drive vehicle to get up there.
Now you
but
do.
There was an old man at the time, Mr. Johnson.
I think so. He's dead now.
He went up there.
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah, because his wife had passed away.
Right.
And he would go, like, there was a chair set up.
Right.
And that's, like, the type of cemetery where there's evidence there that people will go and spend time with their family members there. Like, there were chairs all over the place, and I think one had, like, a little picnic table.
Right.
But yeah, we ran into him one time when we were up there.
Yeah, and he talked our ears off. Bless his
Yeah.
heart. He was the sweetest old man. And then, but like as you're going up there, like there's a split in the road. Mm-hmm. And so you stay straight on the road to go to the cemetery, but if you turn off, there was like this house. Mm-hmm. And just driving up to the house, like the driveway felt like it was forever long, and it kind of like went in front of the house and then turned off to the side, and it was like the house itself, you just felt watched as you were driving up to it. There were some of the biggest freaking dandelions I've ever seen.
Yes, they were huge. They were like the size of softballs.
They were huge. But that house, we went up there. I was pregnant with Maddie. Mm-hmm. And your mom, and I think your sister was with us. There's a picture of me and Allie in that cemetery together. And I was very pregnant with Maddie. So it had to have been like February when we went up there. So, and I was in short sleeve, so it wasn't very cold.
Right.
But we drive up there.
And like the whole front of the house is nothing but windows.
Yeah, so it was crazy. And then there's like a garage. So we decided, hey, let's go into this garage first.
Yeah.
Out beside of the garage, there's like animal remains that were like pinned up on a cross almost.
Yeah,
like
they were like pinned up on a pole. It was weird.
Looked like a sacrificial magic or something. So we go into this garage. We're rummaging through all this shit that's in the garage.
Well, the house was empty. The garage that was like next to the house was empty. But then there's like 2 other garages. And one was huge and full of stuff.
Yeah.
The other one, I think, was also empty. But this one, like, somebody was using it for storage. So, we're rummaging through stuff. And I'm like, oh, nobody will miss this guitar. And I take this guitar home. First of all, why I took a guitar home, I don't know. But by the next weekend, that guitar was returned. Because I had nothing but nightmares while that guitar was in my possession. And I was like, it's got to go.
Yeah. The doors to the house were unlocked.
Yeah, the doors to the house. It was a gorgeous house.
It really was, but it had a bunch of creepy, like, tiny doors.
Yeah, it had a lot of, like, little crawl space doors all over the place. It was kind of weird.
I opened the refrigerator and it smelled like death.
Yeah. I mean, that's to be expected when you open
Oh, no, that was, like, worse than, like, an old stale refrigerator. It, like, legit smelled like death.
Yeah, and you could smell it throughout the house, too. It was really bad. But, yeah, like, we went up to that house a few times, and then, I don't know, it burned down, but I don't know if it was a control burn.
I'm thinking it probably was.
But, I don't know if it was a control burn, or... But yeah, because they were clearing that because some developer bought it and was going to put like a whole shopping center over there. Yeah. And everybody in that lived over there was like, hell no, we don't want that shit over here. And so it never happened. But there's also another abandoned house down there, which now somebody lives in. The one when you first go down, and there was that, like, little yellow house, and there was, like, a bunch of farm equipment and stuff over there.
I don't remember.
But somebody lives in that house now. But the other house was burned down, and then there was, like, a little cabin that, I think in some of my research I figured out, because there's a slave cemetery over there somewhere. But it's, like, lost to time. But I think it might have been like a slave cabin. I don't know.
Oh, I do remember that.
Yeah, because one time it has nothing to do with paranormal, but one time I went and I was like, I'm going to take pictures of this little cabin because it was like dilapidated, and I was like, I want to freeze this in time before time ruins the building and nature reclaims it.
I remember those pictures.
So
that's right off where that cemetery is, though.
Yeah, it's like right in front of that. So I take these pictures, I go to school, and I'm like, something ain't right. I'm quite itchy. And I'm like looking around. I go to the bathroom and I'm looking around. I got little seed ticks all over me. I went to Firestone where my dad was working at the time, and I was like, I got ticks all over me. And he lifts up the back of my shirt. He goes, yep, you got ticks all over you. I had to drive all the way back here. My mama done picked all of those little seed ticks off me so I could drive back to school for my second class.
That whole area, it's just a long stretch of road that ends at the river. A ferry used to come there.
And there's nothing out there.
There's not. It's just a bunch of houses.
There's some farm.
And there's that sod farm.
Yeah, there's the turf place. There's a park.
Yeah.
A nature trail.
And it's a Pokestop.
Yeah, it's a Pokestop. There's not really much else out there.
I quit going back there because bodies kept me.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. There for a minute, there was body found in the Cumberland River at the boat ramp on Old Hickory, and we're like, come again?
Right.
And then it was a couple weeks later, another body found.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we ain't going down there.
There's that one time that we went, and nobody. It's literally a 2-lane road.
Yeah.
There's no other way to get in and out.
Yeah.
Nobody had come down the road. But all of a sudden, this car bum rushed. We had already driven to the very end, to the dock.
Yeah.
And there was no one down there. Every
Right.
once in a while, you get down there to the dock, there'd be, some kids doing dirty things in their car.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's sometimes 2 cars. One with the windows fogged up.
Yeah.
One without.
We'd always make sure we bright light the fogged up windows as we go by. Ooh, you're doing it. And I'm thinking that this was the wee-woo night. I had a flashlight that flashed red.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it had a magnet on the bottom of it. And so, I stuck it on the roof of the car. And as we're driving down the road, I'm going, wee-woo, wee-woo, wee-woo. But, because it was funny. But anyway.
We weren't trying to pull anybody over or anything.
No. There was nobody else around us.
Let's not admit to a felony.
No. No, there was literally no one else around us. It was just us. I was just acting stupid because it was funny at the time.
Screwing around.
And I promise I was not intoxicated by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just that fucking stupid. But we drive. Literally no one passes us. There was nobody at the end of that road. And then all of a sudden, I'm driving.
Yeah.
And headlights in my rearview mirror. And they're on us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, what is happening?
Didn't he end up passing us?
Yes, he went around us, flew past us,
around us,
and then gets in front of us and slows down.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like a Suburban or something.
Yeah.
Took off, was gone. And then a few minutes later, because I'm driving slow at this point, I was like, I ain't trying to catch up.
Right.
A few minutes later, there they are again. We catch up to them because they're driving slow again. And I'm like, if he stops, I'm gunning it around him.
Right.
And had slowed down and then took off again and was gone.
Yeah.
We never saw him again.
Weirdest thing.
But literally there was nowhere that vehicle could have come from.
Right. Because we were down at the end where there was nothing but farmland. There's no houses down that end that far.
But it's just an overall feeling of sadness and heaviness.
Yeah, that area is quite heavy.
But I don't know.
Just sitting here rubbing the top of my foot. I shaved it finally.
Oh, did you?
My little hairs on the top of my foot were curling up.
Maddie made a comment the other day that I have very hairy toes. And I was like, don't even talk about my toes. It's just my big toes.
Well,
was it Maddie? It might have been Gemma.
So, my neighbor growing up, her and all her sisters, one of her sisters was like, she was like, y'all must take after, so-and-so. Y'all don't have any hair on your feet. She's like, I got the hairiest toes. And they were like, ain't you ever heard of a razor? And she goes, what are you talking about? And they were like, we shave our toes and the top of our feet. And she was like, you mean y'all been doing that this whole time?
Easton tried to shave his non-existent stash while we were in Florida.
I keep thinking all week, I'm like, I'm somebody's wolf mother. Ever since you told me that, I'm like that. Where did he come up with that?
So we're sitting at the house the other night, and Easton just walks up. He has his moments where he's super sweet, and just out of nowhere sometimes. And so we're sitting at the house the other night, and he looks at me, and he comes in, like, I'm sitting in the recliner, and he comes and sits on the arm of the recliner, like he'll do sometimes to cuddle up with me. He's got his little Switch with him, his Nintendo Switch, and he's playing Fortnite. And he's like, he looks at me, and he goes, I love you, Mama. And I was like, I love you too, Bubs. And then he goes, it was either you're the best mommy I've ever had or the prettiest mommy I've ever had. And I was like, I'm the only mommy you've ever had. And he's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, well, who is this other mommy? And he was like, Aunt Brittany. And I was like, she's not your mom. That's your aunt. And he goes, no, she's my werewolf mom. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yes, she's my werewolf mom. And I'm like, I'm going to call and ask her. And he's like, she's not going to know.
And he was right. I didn't know.
I'm like, how is she not going to know she's your mom? He's like, she's not going to know. And so I call her and I'm like, hey, were you aware? And she was like, no, I had no idea.
That's the weirdest thing. Like all week, that's the weirdest thing.
Oh, my kids come up with something crazy. He told TJ tonight that he was the best daddy he's ever had. And I'm like, who's your other dad? And he's like, my brain. Okay. Do you refer to yourself as daddy? Like, there's a problem here.
Right.
Lord.
Being weird.
You got any other stories?
I don't think I do.
Well,
I don't think I do. And we've got 2 more episodes to record.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well,
I think we'll cut it off here.
all right,
at
guys.
almost an hour and 21 minutes.
Well, we hope that you've enjoyed our ramblings. Oh,
Yeah.
I have our nonprofit for the week.
Yeah.
This one is called WATSI, WATSI. It's for healthcare. 100% of donation funds are sent to this. Let's go to the website and go to the About Us. It says that they believe that everyone deserves health care. They're a small team on a mission to make health care accessible for everyone. They've got a ton of funders. It tells you about their leadership. They've got some pretty big name corporate supporters, people like Google and Dropbox. But it's, they basically, with all of these donations, 100% of it goes to fund like life-saving surgeries to remove cancerous tumors and things like that. Just to kind of help people where they need help the most. Because, in this day and
help
time,
them when their insurance won't.
Right. In this day and time, especially here, well, I'm not going to say especially here, but like
particularly
here,
healthcare
is hard because of funding. Even with health insurance, it still can be a struggle. Not everybody's got, $1,500, $2,500, whatever your out of pocket is.
Our healthcare here is very expensive, and the outcomes do not match.
Exactly. So, WATSI helps aid in that. Kind of, reaches out to help you out there. They've got on their website, they've got stories from people that they've helped. You can see like patients and stuff that they've helped. Like this one here. There was a little boy that they helped remove a cancerous tumor from his eye. What happens is patients will seek care. The patients will learn about the organization, and then medical partners submit patient to this partner. And donors. So if you choose to donate, your funds will go to help them 100%. So it's not like you're lining the pocket of anybody except for the ones that it's here for. And your donations, when you donate, you receive patient updates. So they let you know your money went here and this is what's going on with that person, which I find to be fantastic.
Right.
So WATSI supports patients from 30 countries. I don't know that for sure according to this map, I don't think that they do it here. But, there are lesser, there are communities and countries, other places that have even worse healthcare than we do.
Right.
So, yeah, definitely look into that. I thought it was a really cool thing, even though it's not here at home, but it's still a pretty awesome thing to be able to help someone, and you get to follow the progress. So
something to remember is that even if it doesn't affect you, global health keeps everybody healthy.
Yes.
So even if it doesn't directly influence you, just be a good human.
Bingo. Bingo.
Yeah.
So, who are we telling this week?
This week we can tell, the person checking you out at the grocery store, as long as it's not self-checkout. Which, I mean,
even then you got the person that stands by to put in their password if you're buying beer.
Yeah.
So, if
or
you're doing
look in the
self-checkout.
opposite direction when you, need actual assistance.
Right. So, as you're walking past them, be like, hey, yo, I need your help. But also, let me tell you about this awesome podcast that I listen to.
Right.
I think you should look that up. But while you're at it, go ahead and follow us on the Facebook,
Instagram,
the TikTok,
Twitter,
and email us at wanderersofweird@gmail.com. Go ahead and rate us on wherever you're listening to us at, if that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Leave
Spotify,
us comments.
Apple Podcasts.
Interact with our freaking posts.
Email. Yeah, comment on our posts.
Listen, so I'm just here to tell you, a friend of ours, KK, Caitlin.
She's been sharing all of her posts.
She has.
She's a real MVP.
She's got her own little podcast. It's called Two Without a Clue. Her and her co-host, Kelsey. Kelsey makes a valid point on several of their episodes, and I even saw a TikTok that she posted the other day where she's saying, if you follow us, it takes 0.2 seconds to hit that like button.
Yeah.
Like us.
Yeah.
It takes 2.5 seconds, maybe 3 seconds to hit that repost button.
Yeah.
If you're already following us, why can't you just I don't even care if you don't care about what we're talking about. Just like us. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, just like
it boosts us up in that algorithm and gets the word out a little bit more.
Right.
So like us, share us, send us episode ideas. Last week we provided you guys with a listener suggested episode, and it was a pretty awesome one.
Yeah. I'd say so.
If you would like for us to talk about something, let us know what you want us to talk about.
Yeah.
Share us, like us, rate us, email us ideas, spooky stories.
Yep.
We like doing these personal experiences, and as you could tell, we're kind of running out, so we want to know yours.
Yeah.
Ours get added on to every day.
I was gonna say this will probably be the last one for a while.
Yeah.
So,
we
need yours.
Right.
We need listener personal experiences to tell.
We have an idea that we would like to do, but we can't do it without your stories.
And since we're going on our spooky journey across all 50 states and probably the our two, what do you call those? The things we have, Puerto Rico.
Oh.
And Cuba. We don't have Cuba. What's the other one? I don't know.
Hawaii?
No, that's a state.
Oh.
I don't know. We'll figure it out when the time comes. Because as we discovered last episode or the episode before, geography is not my strong suit. So,
anyways.
On that note, we'll see you next week.
Okay, bye!
Bye.